Autoweb. Welcome to the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast, the #1 resource for automotive sales professionals, managers, and owners to learn how to make money, accumulate wealth, and to all out ball out in the auto industry. And now your hosts, Sean V. Bradley and L.A. Williams.
1, 2, 3, 4,
Autoweb.
Okay, everybody, the Millionaire Car Salesman Group, we got a freaking treat. I'm in Chicago at the McGrath Auto Group at McGrath City Hyundai and Genesis of Oak Park, and I'm with the superstar. Please introduce yourself to the industry.
Hi everybody, I'm Jorgina Beto, and I am the finance manager at McGrath City Hyundai.
Okay, so Georgina, first of all, I gotta say, you look extremely young. How old are you?
I am 20 years old, 21 in October.
Okay, and how long have you been in the automotive industry?
Almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years, okay. So tell us about how did you get into the automotive industry?
It's actually quite a story. I used to service my car at this dealer group, and I was always there. My car was constantly breaking down. Got to meet the whole sales staff, knew the GM there, so I wanted to sell cars. So I did speak to the GM, but I had just turned 18, so he turned me down. He said, no, you're still too young. Turned 19 the next year. I went back to him, I emailed him, I said, hey, I understand I'm still young, is there anything else I can do in the car industry? I really want to be in it. So he puts me at this other store as a sales assistant, receptionist, whatever the case was. A month later, he pulls me out and puts me in finance. And I asked him later on why did that happen, and he really said it's just about coming back and being persistent, and I put you in there, I want to see what you could do.
So this is really interesting to me for a whole bunch of reasons. But first, for everybody in the Millionaire Car Salesman Group, start tagging people. This is going to be a crazy interview. We got a 20-year-old young woman that's not even legally allowed to drink, right? She's not even legally allowed to drink. But you are going to, the punchline is you're going to make over $1,000 in personal income in freaking August 2022 this month, correct?
Correct.
And how much do you think you're going to project to make in the whole year for 2022 approximately? So you are going to make $1,000 at freaking 20 years old, okay? Now, again, if you don't mind me asking, you know that I'm a minority, I'm from Belize. What's your nationality?
I am a Syrian from Iraq.
Okay, so you are a minority and you are female and you are fucking crushing this industry. Yo, much respect, girl. You know what I mean? Because I don't think that there's enough representation in our automotive industry from females, period, but especially strong, powerful, successful females like yourself, and from minorities. So you're like double crushing this. So how does that feel to be both a minority and a female in automotive and be this successful?
It feels absolutely great knowing that I am a female in a male-dominated field. It makes me want to see other women also get up there and succeed and push, and I want to see more women in this industry because it's a great industry to be in. There's no limitations really, as long as you put in the work. I want to see that, and it feels great.
So the first question I have is like, you are doing shit that like people that have 20 years experience have never even come close to, even in this crazy, amazing economy. But like you said, in a male-dominated industry, has that affected you at all that you are a minority or that you are female?
Absolutely, in certain ways. Just being a young female, people look at you a little bit differently. You need to do extra, right, to earn that respect, and that takes putting in the hours and staying late and investing in yourself, trying to learn it, and why do we do it this way and why do we not do it that way, just so I can prove to them that even though I'm a young female, 20 years old, I can still do it and I can still learn it and I can still show you that I'm just the same as my male colleague that's 35 years old. So,
and you've freaking earned your respect. You know what I mean? Like, your name rings bells in here, and I can't go through certain numbers, but your general manager, Kevin Curtis, has said that you're in the 0.01% of F&I managers and directors in the United States. What does that feel like to know that you are at the elite of the elite in this country?
It just feels crazy. I mean, it's insane. I appreciate just even getting the opportunity, but there's no, I don't even know how to explain it.
So I'm going to ask you specific questions then. Okay, so first of all, you got this crazy opportunity to become an F&I manager. But listen, anybody could get an F&I manager's job and sink or swim.
Correct.
You know, how did you, when you first got the opportunity, did you go through training?
I did. It was, I didn't really end up going to the school that usually finance managers go to, so I had my rep sitting there and we would practice, but I would sit for hours watching videos.
Stop. Holy crap. So you didn't even go to F&I school?
No.
You are pretty much self-taught? Like by watching,
I'm making mistakes and learning from the mistakes and just sitting there watching videos, seeing how they do it, how to handle objections, how to sell the ownership, coming in on my days off, staying till 12 a.m., trying to learn it.
So let's break that down, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that are going to see this and be like, holy crap. Okay, so let's try to remember when you first go into training, be a little bit more specific. How much training do you think that you did? Was it a week? Was it a month? Was it 2 months? And I know you're probably still training,
For sure.
But how long did you really dive and immerse yourself?
So before I even started taking deals, I had only gone training for 2 weeks, and then I was thrown in there. And when I was thrown in there, taking all these deals, not really knowing what am I doing? How do I do this? I had to teach myself, and that's when I started putting in all the hours and sitting on there and just sitting in my own office and drawing and figuring out and just talking to nobody. Or I'd go to a salesperson, I'm like, hey, you're going to listen to this, okay? So I used to do that all the time, but took a year of me just sitting there and training, and I would finish up and analyze, okay, how could I have done this better? It was just crazy.
This is just so mind-blowing, because as I told you, I've got 2 daughters, that are, actually they're both older than you. I got a 21-year-old and a 23-year-old, and again, you should be so proud of what you've accomplished. So talk to us about this. Can you define what's your official title? F&I manager or business manager? What do you like to go by?
Business manager.
Okay, business manager. So define to us what is a business manager and what are your responsibilities as a business manager?
Absolutely. So my responsibility is, you get a deal, right, is to secure that deal, is to get financing, is to make sure we are compliant, right, going through compliance, doing all of that, and then most importantly is delivering that vehicle and selling the ownership for the customer, right? And it's not about just menu selling, it's about presenting this beautiful program that majority of our people take advantage of, and what we do is, this is how you're going to go ahead and be, let's say, happy in that ownership experience. So that's just part of it, but there's 4 really functions into F&I, one being the lender side, one being sales side, one being admin, and one being leadership. So
let's break those down. So the first one.
First one, as far as lender, you need to understand your lenders. There's many lenders out there looking at a credit profile. Who should I go to? Should I go to Chase? Should I go to Bank of America? Should I go to Hyundai, for example, because I work at Hyundai? But you got to understand those and their programs. Every single lender has a completely different program, completely different rates, completely different, just everything really. So that's the first part of it.
How many banks do you have in your network here at the dealership?
We have close to, I'd say here, about 25 lenders.
25 lenders. So I'm assuming banks, credit unions,
Sure, yes.
etc.
With credit unions, there's far more.
Yeah.
30.
So it's over 35.
Yeah.
Now, do you guys do used car leasing here?
We do not.
Okay, so is that something that you are interested in being able to start exploring, especially with this
Sure.
economy? Okay, so used car leasing. How, if you don't mind me asking, what's your lease penetration?
At this store, it's very low. It's close to about 10%. Before
my God.
I came, it was close to about 40.
In the Northeast where I'm based out of, it's like 75, 80%. And I got people in LA and California that's 93, 95%. And so I think that my personal opinion, I want your opinion on this, is that having a whole diversity of banks and lending institutions gives you more diversity, gives you more opportunities, that. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
100%.
So for the fledgling F&I managers out there or business managers out there, how does one find the right banks and the right lending institutions? What do you recommend?
What I recommend is, if they're already signed up with them or if they're not.
If they're not
yet, is to go ahead and, I'm sure they have friends out there like finance managers. Ask them, what lenders do you guys have over there that you would recommend, and what are the programs? For instance, we have a lender here that my previous group doesn't have it, but it helps so much. So I have friends over there that ask me all the time, hey, what lenders do you guys have there? What works for you? And I always share the information.
If you mind, share with 23,000 people.
Absolutely.
What do you? Yeah.
One of the lenders we constantly use here is BCU. It's a credit union. The programs are a little bit differently. They just buy differently, which helps a lot of people, especially with, let's say, a credit score of 600 to a 700 file. it's phenomenal credit union. Where I came from, they don't use that. So a lot of times they're missing out on sales because they think they can't get it done or they can't get an approval for that. And that helps tremendously. So
What about, you guys do special finance here?
we do.
Okay, so what would you say, in your personal opinion, is one of the best banks or lending institutions that help with like subprime or deep subprime?
BCU.
Yeah?
Yes.
All right, cool.
Yes, especially like first-time buyers, or like you pull up the credit bureau and there's nothing on there.
Okay.
They're phenomenal with that.
Now, let's say that they have the banks or they're about to get the banks. How important is it developing relationships with your reps?
It's the most important thing out there. They will do things for you. Like instead of just calling, that phone number on the approval, you need to have a relationship with your buyers. You need to have a relationship with your reps. When they come in, they will do things for you that you would have never thought they would.
Can you be a little specific? Because you remember, there's people that aren't F&I managers that are going to look at you as an inspiration to try to get to your level. Okay, so how does one develop a good rapport with a bank representative? And be specific. Like, what would you recommend? Let's just say for me, if I wanted to be a good F&I manager, but I didn't know what the hell I'm doing, like you, when you were trying to like study and learn self-taught. Yeah. So there's people going to watch this that are going to ask the same thing. Like, okay, what do I do? So talk to us.
Usually they come and visit. Give them that time. A lot of finance managers are like, yeah, no, I'm busy. I don't got time for that. They're doing their own thing. Give them 5 to 10 minutes and actually speak to them and ask them questions and be interested, genuinely be interested in when they're staying. They will remember that. Or, they give you the phone number all the time. Call them, ask them, like, hey, lunch is on me this time. Like, actually, let's go out. Let's look at your programs. Let's figure this out. They like that type of stuff. Like, show me your program and let me have a better understanding so I can go ahead and send you more business. And they love that type of stuff. Just talk to them, give them that time when they come in stores. Don't just brush them off. Hey, I'm busy. I don't have time for this. Don't give them excuses. Can
you give an example? You don't have to mention the customer's name, but how did you have in the last year or last couple of months a situation that was really beneficial because of the relationship? Like you couldn't get an approval, but because you had such a good rapport with the bank or what have you. Give us an example of how having a good relationship really helped you be successful or get an approval or something.
I actually have one outside right now.
That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah, I have one outside right now. The guy is here. He wants a car. First time buyer, doesn't really have it. We sent it to 3 lenders. They declined them. However, knowing that the relationship we have with BCU, all we got to do is call the buyers that we know, like let them know, okay, it's the guy's first car, we're trying to help him out, he actually makes this much, we got all this tips, we got this and that, is there anything we can do for him? And we send them about 80 deals, let's say a month, and they're like, yeah, no, I got you on this one, like send it through, we'll go ahead and figure it out for you at a great interest rate too. It's not like it's a raise at 19% at all, it's below 10 first time buyer. So stuff like that, definitely.
Okay, I love it. You said there's 4 main roles. The first one is the lenders.
Correct.
Okay, what's the second?
The second would be admin.
Okay.
So admin is your paperwork, right? You got to make sure you got all the required documents on every single deal. Every deal is different, right? There's one with trade, there's one with no trade, there's one used, there's one new, out of state. You got to make sure you got all your documents in. You got to know what documents you need for what deal, just so it makes your life easier, makes your office life easier, and most important thing, you're protecting the dealer group that you're working for. So.
Now, how much does it drive you crazy sometimes with salespeople not putting the right paperwork together? Let's talk about that. Share your pain.
That is one of the most, it slows it down, right? You want your customer to go in the finance office, finalize the deal, you want to deliver that car. So make sure you got all of your documents in line if you want it to be quick, fast, and efficient and out. It just slows everybody down. There's 3 more deals waiting now just because we're missing, for example, an insurance card. Like, we shouldn't. Let's have that stuff done. Let's make sure that the dates on there are correct. Let's make sure everything's in there before it gets to the finance, so it's easier for everybody.
So what do you do as an F&I manager to try to mitigate that? Meaning, like, do you have like a checklist? Like,
yes.
Okay, so
I actually created my own checklist.
Okay.
It's every single document you need, like starting from the sales side. I will know, for example, like I can't touch this deal if I'm missing these documents. I need it before I can move to my next step and get my F&I documents ready. So checklist is important. Everybody needs a checklist to stay clean, and every single deal is basically good to go. Once you're done, it makes your life easier, clean it, turn it in. So having a checklist, just like an airplane, right? Like a pilot can't just go in there and, hey, I got it, I'm just gonna fly because I've done it 7 billion times. No, they need a checklist. They need to go through it, check it all before they can go out and fly these
That's a great analogy.
Same exact thing, right? Yeah, I've done, for example, 1,000 deals. I know what I need, but you're still going to forget. It is what it is. So having a checklist every single time, do it even though you know it before or after you clean your deal, and that will keep you on the right track. And just do your job and move on. I never want to see a deal again. Once my deal leaves my office, I don't ever want to deal with it again. Goes to the office, everything's in there, we're all done. I'm focusing on today's business, not yesterday's.
Okay, so 2 questions on the admin stuff. What advice do you have for F&I managers to streamline their paperwork and their admin? Like, obviously, create a checklist. What else? Like a step sheet?
Yes, okay. Create a checklist. If you don't know, utilize the people you have, right? Your partners, utilize the office, call them. Hey, for out-of-state deal, like, what do I need? For example, do I need my insurance card, like the vehicle to be on the insurance card? It's a small things that get annoying. Call them, ask them, what do you need? Write that down so you know. That way you have it in writing, right? You're not going to just forget. You're calling these people, the people that actually clean those deals and that need that paperwork, ask them, what do you need? Create that checklist and do it the same way every single time.
Okay. Now, what feedback or advice do you have for salespeople? Because a lot of salespeople complain about F&I taking forever, but it's partly their fault. So speak to these salespeople out there and try to help all the F&I managers out there, by trying to give some advice to the salespeople.
For sure. So here, when you get a customer, you have the deal, you just dropped it, right? Don't tell the customer. The finance manager is going to be with you in 5 to 10 minutes. It's never 5 to 10 minutes, guys. They still got to get their approval. They still got to call the winner. They still got to make sure everything's in line. They got to print the paperwork. They got to do the plates. They got to do all these things. Just let them know, hey, my finance manager will be out here to introduce you, right? Introduce themselves and give them some time and they'll be right with you. You're next in line, but just don't give a time frame at all. That just, because now we're frustrating the customer. Okay, you said 5 to 10 minutes, they're still not here. You said another 5 to 10 minutes and they're still not here. So that's the number one thing I'd say.
I love it. Okay, so what's the third thing that's an F&I manager's responsibility?
The third thing would be sales.
Talk about that.
Sales. So it depends on how a finance manager views it. At the end of the day, as a finance manager, I'm not just trying to sell you a product right now. I'm trying to sell you an ownership experience. I'm just trying to prevent you from coming in our service department knowing that you're not covered and now you got to pay $2,000 bill, for example, on top of your monthly payment, on top of your insurance. That's not what we want, because that's only going to create a bad relationship between you and us. So my number one thing is going through the program, right? So this is where you're at now, but this ensures that when you come back in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, whenever it is, and something does break down with your car, you don't got to worry about paying $2,000 out of pocket this day on top of your monthly payments and your insurance and all of that. You're all covered, you're all set. That way you're happy and you're going to come back to us and trade that vehicle and get your next vehicle. We already know all about the program, which you're going to do it on this next car too. It just makes everything much easier.
So you know how on the showroom floor, when you up somebody and you go through, okay, you have these different types of steps that lead to selling a car more often, more profitably. Do you have like a road to the sale in the box?
Sure. Same exact thing.
So talk to me. Do you know what the steps are?
Absolutely,
let's go through them.
Same exact thing. So you got a deal. Number one thing I want to do is go introduce myself to that customer. Show them who I am. Show them my face. I'll be taking care of all your documents. I'm going to ask you some questions, right? Give me just some time and I'll be right with you. That way they know who you are when they're coming to your office. It's not the first time they're seeing you. They're not nervous. They trust you a little bit more. So that's number one thing I do. And then I come to my office after, of course, asking them about their just driving habits. And I go through my paperwork, get the approvals, get, let's say, all that. And then you create your programs that you're going to go through with them based off of their driving habits. So then when they come in, you want to go ahead and tell them about the dealership a little bit, right? It's their first time buying. They don't really know much. Like, okay, who's McGrath, for example? Like, who am I buying this car from? Tell them a little bit about them. Who are you guys? How long have you been in business? What do you guys do? What are you guys proud of? Do it in a conversation way, right? Not just reciting a poem or anything like that. So they start trusting you a lot more, and then go through your paperwork and then explain their owner's manual, right? Explain what they're actually getting, what is covered from the manufacturer, what is not covered from the manufacturer. Do it in a way where we're just talking about this like it's your first Hyundai. I'm going to go over these things. You'd be surprised how many people just sit there and like, thank you for doing that, because I've bought so many cars and nobody ever does that for me. That helps a lot. Going through like here that you get a 40 or 50, for example, limited coverage, and then go through that type of stuff and what's, like I said, what's covered, what's not covered, and then go through the program. So with them, they just trust you so much more, and they're like, okay, well, what do you think I should do? It gets to that point, so what do you think I should do? And that's the type of trust you want to go ahead and have in there. And then after you're done, of course, finalize all of it. make sure they have a great experience before they walk out of your office.
I love that. Here's my thing: as a sales trainer, the more prepared you are, the more successful you're going to be. Like it's like playing chess. So if you know that if you go to up somebody in a lot, some people might say, "I'm just looking." If you don't know how to handle that, you're going to be shit out of luck. You're going to go broke. So can you go through what are the most common objections when you're trying to sell on the back end?
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Attention auto dealers. You need an opportunity to do business. AutoWeb is one of the largest suppliers of high quality leads. High quality buyers. At a 10% closing ratio, you will be at less than $190 per car sold. Don't just settle for what you get. AutoWeb can fully customize your results through targeted markets and/or zip codes, and as a partner, you will get premium placement within search results. Who better to do that than literally the people that invented automotive internet sales? If you want to sell more cars more often and more profitably, then you need AutoWeb.
So go through the most common objections.
Let's say we're going through them and they're just saying, no, thank you. Like, I'm okay. Well, that tells me one thing, they still don't trust me. That's just like going into a store. Hey, are you looking for something? No, I'm just looking. I'm not just looking. I'm going in there to buy something.
Right.
It's the same thing. Like, I know they don't trust me. So now I got to fall back into for example, my base statement, right? Just talking about the way we do business and why we're here and why we're going over this and the whole experience of ownership experience. So you go over that again with them and just conversating with them. Sometimes it's okay to drop it. If you keep getting multiple no's, drop it, right? And then have a normal conversation. You can always circle back at it. That way you're not hard selling. It just doesn't work like that. So one of the most, no, I'm okay. Like I'm good. Or I'm okay with the manufacturer warranty that I got.
How do you overcome these objections then?
I always dive back into, I have a full graph and stuff I go through and I always
pause right there. Pause.
Yeah.
So that's also interesting because some F&I managers don't use visuals.
I love visuals.
I agree.
It's the greatest thing ever. I literally, every single customer, I have a piece of paper in front of me and I literally draw and write down every single thing. It's a 4-year, this is what you get as far as what's not covered. Of course, wear and tear on maintenance, loaners, we cover them here at McGrath, and then lastly, your wear and tear, tires, rims, dents and nicks on windshield and all that type of stuff. They love seeing that stuff. Because majority of the time when you're talking to a customer, they're probably not even listening to you if you're just talking. Right. What are you talking about? You're talking too fast. I don't know what you're saying. So just writing it down. They see it. I always flip back to it. Again, go through it again.
So if we could go through, like you said, I'm okay. That's one of the most basic, pushbacks or objections you get. What would you say is the best response? I get it. Resell the value, try to secure, the respect, trust, etc. But kind of demonstrate, show us, what would you say?
Is, I can't just dismiss that. So I totally understand. I totally appreciate what you're saying, Mr. Customer. Now, usually there's 2 reasons as far as why some people don't take advantage of it. One being that you don't see value in what we just went through. Is that what it is? And majority of them, they're not going to, did I do a great job, let's say, at explaining this? Majority of them are not going to say, no, you didn't. Yeah, no, absolutely. I see what you're saying. I see value in it. Okay, so then it must be that second reason, and usually it's that monthly payment, right? So now I'm diving into that. Is it that monthly payment from where we were? And majority of the time they're like, yeah, it's that monthly payment. Boom, they already told me what it is. I know what I need to work on. I know how to get there. So then I try to get that commitment from them. Okay, so I see what you're saying is that you would take advantage of this. However, it's just that monthly payment being there is what's making you say that. No, so if I can get that from them, that's great. And then I go from perfect. So if your monthly payment was a little bit closer to where you were up front, you do see yourself taking advantage of the program, right? And they're like, yes. So now I know where we're at. And that's where you dive into additional cash down, of course, trying to bump them on term to get them to that monthly payment before I even touch anything of my dollars in there. Additional cash down, bump them on term, see what we can do. If you're doing the full program, my final thing to do is, if I'm still away from that monthly payment that they provide for me that they feel comfortable making, that's where you start taking a product or 2 out just to get to where they want. But that's my final resort after I try all the other stuff.
Now, without giving the secrets, because you're part of, I think, $1 billion dealer group, and they don't want to give us the little details out here to the public because it's a private company. But girl, you have a ridiculous back end. So how the hell are you able to maintain gross more than 99.9% of F&I managers out there. Like, what the hell is it?
Having an action plan, right, is just, and I can write that down for you. You can write it in there. Just having an action plan. Like I said, the minute they say no, I jump into that 2 reasons, and then I go after they tell me what it is. After they tell me, okay, I feel comfortable from that $350. I'm okay at $390. Boom! I just got $50 from them a month. I'm still not gonna be at $390. I'm going to be a little higher, but I got that from them. So then I go ahead and try to do additional cash down from them. Okay, great. So you want to be at $390. We're at $430, for example, and then I just assume it. Okay, great. At 75 months instead of 72, with $4,000 total down instead of 2, for example, you'd be at $410. And they're like, okay, so now I'm at $410. It's $20 difference from $390. If they still give me more, like, no, I still can't do that. Like, I don't want to do $4,000 more down payment. Great, let me go ahead and see what we can do for you, right? Go down to $3,000 or get a commitment on cash down payments again. It's just being persistent and knowing what the real objection is and not just taking the first no. I think that's one of the best things that you can do as an F&I.
I love this. What other objections would you say? Because that's the first one is.
Absolutely.
Give it some other common ones.
Other common ones would be like, oh, well, I just have my own mechanic, for example, or I just fix my own cars. Now, usually they're talking about drive-by transmission cars. There's a difference between drive-by transmission and drive-by-wire. What I mean by that is that those older cars, like somebody that's trading in a 2010 car that's buying a 2022, completely different cars. And I show them that. I'm like, here, like for example, I always make it personal. So I'm like, here, we have a 2002 Toyota Camry at home. We got a 2013 Nissan Altima at home. They're completely different cars. And what I go into is like, here, the manufacturers, of course, just by looking at the car, they're completely different. And what I try to focus on are the electronics, computers, and sensors inside the car, and which is why it's a limited coverage, right? Those components are manufactured by third companies. All Hyundai, all Honda, Toyotas, all they do is they put them in cars, which is why it's that limited coverage and stuff like that. And then they start to actually like, oh, okay. I'm like, great, you can go fix your cars, right? For sure. That screen inside your car goes out. You still got to go buy it, right? But you got to program it inside the car, and that's where they're like, okay, this is starting to make a little bit more sense instead of a 2010 car that I can just go buy the part and fix it in my garage.
Right.
And not including that, I also show them like labor hours. Labor hours keep going up by the year.
Give an example, because remember, there's people that are not F&I managers or they don't understand banking. So explain what that means. So
labor hours here, if a car breaks down, of course, you got to bring it into service. Your technicians charge a labor hour, which is $155 an hour. If usually a vehicle spends a day in the shop, so they're paying $155 times 8 hours. That's just for the labor. Now multiply that ratio for 1088, it's 1 to 1. Now you're paying that, and you're paying that same amount for the part. So it's just very, very expensive nowadays to, of course, go ahead and fix these cars. And people are starting to realize that it's just more the electronics, computers, sensors, stuff like that.
Pause. Yo. She's 20 years old, people. Are you freaking kidding me? She sounds like she's been doing this for 20 years. You know what I mean? Like, this is amazing. All right, give me another objection. Another
objection would be, I'm okay with the manufacturer's warranty, right? They're like, oh, I got that with Hyundai, it's a 10-year, 100,000 mile powertrain. They don't really understand that the powertrain isn't the full, it's really just 27 to 36 components that oil touches. So I show them that too. Like here, your powertrain, great, you got that. It's these components, it's 27 to 36 components that your oil touches. However, you got still all these electronics, computers, sensors that the manufacturer doesn't cover. And I dive right back into that drive-by-wire cars and why it's like that. And just constantly. And if they still don't trust me, like they're still giving me all these objections, again, it comes down to trust, and then I gotta go back with my base statement. Like here, Mr. Customer, one of the reasons we go through the program is because we've been in the business, for example, for over 80 or 90 or 100 years, and something we've noticed throughout the years is that these customers are usually keeping these cars for a much longer time. The reason being, of course, is because of all the features inside these cars. However, one thing we found in our service department is that like we go into, how do I even explain this? Like we go into what happens in our service department. I bring that in there too, and how that could ruin an ownership experience because you got a customer paying a monthly payment. They are not covered, right? Let's say they don't have that package and they're paying $2,000 to $3,000 or $1,000 or whatever it is. on top of their monthly payment in that service department. However, what we found with our other customers that have taken advantage of this is that they come in, they're still in a happy mood, right? They're still making that monthly payment, they're covered, they're fine. They're going to take their loaner and go home and not worry about anything. So I always bring that type of stuff up too.
This is amazing. So what about the people that decline certain products or services? Do you follow with them post-sale to try to, get them after the fact?
Absolutely. There's sometimes I do it because I genuinely, you here as an F&I manager, you genuinely have to believe in these things. I have it on my own car. Like my dad has these things on his own car because I genuinely believe in them. And when they walk out not having it, like you're concerned, like, okay, but you're planning on keeping the car, for example, for 10 years, even though you might not for that long. And to me, it's like, okay, well, maybe I didn't do a good job at explaining what it really is, and maybe I just wasn't persistent enough, right? Stuff like that. So I do sometimes call them back and email them and try to get them to understand it one more time, of course, without being pushy,
right,
and like that. So yeah, absolutely. And there's times where they do come back and they're like, okay, fine, like we'll do it on my credit card or debit card. That way I'm fine, and then they thank you for it.
Do you ever have a situation? I already know the answer, but I want to say, do you ever have a situation where somebody declines something
and something breaks down
and something fucks up? And okay, talk about that.
And then you got to pull up that accept and decline. Like, sir, we did go over this. Unfortunately, it's not covered, but you still try to recapture their sales there. Like, here's our accept and decline, unfortunately, right? For this time, we can't do anything. But however, if you are still planning on keeping it for a long time, this is where I would take advantage of it, help them out with the price. They do take advantage of it because now they know it happened to them. And I guarantee you, next time they buy a car, they're going to be getting that thing. So
I don't know if you've done this before. This is what I've trained other F&I managers to do, and this is really helpful, is start tracking those situations, because if you could record them, like let's say for example somebody declines extended warranty or something like that, and then some shit happens, then they come back to you, and then they after they took that hit, then they're going to pay for it again. I get a video testimonial, and I actually use those.
That's actually a great idea.
Thank you.
Show them, like,
yes,
here, this actually happened.
Can I tell you, this is what it happened to me. I'll never forget. I have Highline cars. I had an X6M BMW. They have low profile tires, and I'm a trainer, and I declined the fucking wheel package, right? I'm driving.
You never declined that thing.
No.
And I scratched my rims.
Yes, no. So I'm driving to Philadelphia Airport, potholes. Not once, not twice, 3 times. And so I shot a video for the dealership, and I said, listen, my name is Sean Bradley, and I'm an idiot. Okay, I'm actually in the automotive industry. I just bought a $110,000 vehicle, and I was told to use the wheel and tire package. I was like, no, it's not gonna happen. I could drive safe, and bam. And I said, you know what? It was a fluke, and then it happened again. And so they actually used my video testimonial as, and think about this, like when you're on the floor, you have evidence manuals, you know what I mean? It's the same thing. So do you like that idea?
I love that idea.
All right, cool. Hell yes, because then that could really save somebody, because if it was me and I'm on video saying, listen, this happened to me, and look at my receipts, look at this right here. So listen to Georgina, you know what I mean? Because she's trying to help you out. And I think somebody would be, more open to that. Here's another idea too, is that if I'm sure with your personality and your success, you probably make really good friends out of your clients, right?
Absolutely.
So what you could do is your best ones, and the ones that have the best personalities, hey, listen, can I use you as a reference? You know what I mean? And so what you can do sometimes is, if you've got 3 or 4 people while somebody's in the box with you, you might turn around and just call somebody on speaker and say, hey, I just want to get one of my clients, because I want to try to make sure that this doesn't happen to you. And then when somebody's sitting right in your office and they hear a real customer right there, so that's the same kind of idea, but do it live. You like that?
I love that. That's
all right, cool.
great.
Absolutely. All right, so cool. Now, one other question is this. I was just training the showroom sales team of the McGrath upstairs, and we're talking about stats. Any professional athlete, whether baseball or football or UFC, but even like in car sales, you want to track your stats.
Oh my, yes.
So what are stats are very important for an F&I manager to track?
You need to track. I wake up every single morning and I look at this. It's like there's no tomorrow. Those are my babies. You need to track your I really think VSC is your number one thing. Of course, I was at a Highline store. I was at a BMW store.
Explain what that is to the non.
Yes. So I was at a BMW store. It's very different because you get a lot of more leases. You usually can't do a warranty on a lease, right? Because they're only keeping that for 3 years. So that's your number one thing. Let's say at a Hyundai, Honda, Toyota, all these types of stores. At a Highline store, it's more your tire and wheel and maintenance. These people know what they're getting, so you got to track those things when they come in. Okay, where's my finance penetration, right? So how many cash deals have I taken? How many finance deals have I taken? How many leases have I taken? You need to know these things. What am I capturing? What am I not capturing? What's my tire and wheel? What's my product per deal? These are important. What's your reserve income? You got to look at that too. Realistically speaking, your reserve income is coming from the front, right? So where am I at? What am I truly generating? As an F&I manager, you need to know that and just track it. Sometimes it's not all about the pure you. It's really not. You got to look at your products. You got to look at what you're bringing, and that will show you where you're at and what you need help with. I think just taking a look at a finance manager's numbers will tell you all about where they're at, what they need help with, how are they doing, and all that type of stuff.
I love it. This is amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the last part of F&I manager's responsibilities,
which is leadership.
Okay, talk about that.
When it comes to that, as an F&I manager, you still got to go ahead and lead your salespeople, right? You still got to be there. And what I mean by that is be patient with them, right? Like show them that you're a leader, not just because you're a finance manager, not just because I have a title. I actually got to build relationships with these people. Show them that they can trust me, that I can trust them. We can work together as a team, and usually majority of salespeople hate finance managers, right? That's the reality. Be friends with them and show them that you can lead them, show them that you can make them money, show them that you care. You need to genuinely care. You can't just fake it with them. And teach them a few things, right? Sometimes they don't even know what goes on in the finance. I was like, what do you guys really do? Just sell warranties? No, this is what we actually do. They'll start understanding you far more, and they're going to help you out a lot more. Just being a leader in there, too.
You know, it's a shame, though, in our industry, sometimes people covet information, especially in the box. They
hate
worry.
That, yeah.
Talk about that. You know what I mean? Like
my number one goal is to go ahead and create as many of me out there. I'm going to train, I'm going to show, I'm going to lead, I'm going to bring you up with me. I don't care if you're a female, I don't care if you're male, I don't care if you're 20, I don't care if you're 40. I'm still going to tell you what I do. It's not a secret, because you doing good is also a reflection of me and what I can show you and what I can teach you, and bringing you up there with me. It's not a secret, right? It's really not. That shows your leaders and just the dealer group that, oh, hey, I got somebody right here that's willing to teach and show. And usually a lot of people aren't like that, unfortunately. It's only going to open more doors.
No, because they have the freaking scarcity mindset.
Yeah, if somebody can do it, why do they need me here, right?
Which is so silly.
It's not like that. It's really not. I want to create a team that's mini Georginas, that are going to be just like me, that see things the same way I do, that want to do it the same way I do. And that's really what it comes down to. It's just show them. There's no secret. Just tell them. I will tell the whole world what I do. It's not a secret. But
that's why you're a boss. I mean, like, you have that boss mentality of abundance, of interdependence, and you obviously have extreme confidence, and you're extremely skilled. And here's the thing, though, and this is some real shit people out there. It's very rare. I've never in my life seen somebody doing better than me to hate on me. It's usually weaker people, inferior people that are haters. So with your mindset, it makes sense, because you're so confident in what you do. You know what I mean? You're not worried about somebody taking your spot, because you're secure with you.
Correct.
That's dope.
When you know what you bring to the table, you should never be scared that somebody bring them with, and have them sit at the same table as you, and now you're going to learn something from them, and they're going to learn something from you, and you're a team.
Synergy is defined as two or more agents that come together are greater than an individual effect. You know what I mean? Synergy, collaboration, interdependence.
It's better than somebody being just alone. It just doesn't work like that. Having a team will always put you to the next level, put the whole store to the next level. That's the whole.
Okay, so then let's talk about, as we start to unwind on this interview, what is your advice for somebody that wants to be an F&I manager? How do they start? Especially if they're at a dealership that's coveting information. So just what do you recommend? First of all, do you recommend F&I manager as a career for people in the industry?
Absolutely. It's going to change your life. I'll tell you that. It's life-changing. It's a
great
place to be at. You got to go through F&I. I feel like to even if you want to be a general manager one day, or a GSM or anything like that, still go through the finance office so you understand what a deal means. The deal doesn't stop the minute you make it right there, because it has so many other things it's going to go through before it's finalized. So you got to understand that, but it's also going to change your life in so many ways. And the people you meet and the things you learn, it's phenomenal.
So then, okay, let's just say I was a salesperson, or I was a receptionist, or I was an internet BDC, or if I was a service writer, and I'm like, damn, man, she's inspiring. I would love to be able to start somewhere. Like, how does somebody start to learn F&I?
So, number one thing is knowing what you want to do, right? Okay, I want to do finance. Great. So how do I do it? Start using your finance managers, your salespeople, stuff like that, and voice it. Make it clear. This is what I want to do. Go to your general manager here. So I want to become a finance manager. Is there anything I need to do? I might not be good at this. For example, like, be honest. It's okay to take criticism as well. Have somebody go ahead and mentor you and show you, like, okay, great. You want to be a sales manager. You're selling, let's say, 10, 20 cars out there. This is what I would recommend for you to do, and take that and actually do it, and then go back to them. Okay, so I did this. Now what do I do? Like, what? Give me a game plan, and just having that is going to help you a lot, and that shows the general manager, shows whoever's going to promote you that you're consistent and that you want to do it. You can't just say it once and forget about it. You got to put in the work, keep doing it, keep saying, hey, like, I still want to do that. I want to have that opportunity. How do I get there? I promise you they're going to give you that opportunity if you constantly keep going back and showing them that you care and that you want to do it. Do more for the dealership, do more on the sales floor, set yourself apart. And what I mean by that is put in those extra hours, put in those extra days, show them that you care. That will stand out. Okay, reverse engineering. I'm a big Covey person. Begin with end result in mind. Talk to me, describe the profile of somebody that would make a great F&I manager. Like, what skills, what personality? Absolutely.
Like, break it down for me.
Yeah, no, for sure. So you need to know how to speak to people, right? And majority of salespeople out there that are successful already know how to speak to people, right? You're already closing vehicles. It's the same exact thing. However, now you go from being responsible for one thing to about 20 things. So being here, F&I, it's different every single day. Every deal is different. You're not going to be doing the same thing every single day. So you got to understand it's okay for things to be different. And you got to be okay with that. You got to be okay with things constantly changing, talking to people, knowing how to talk to people, being under pressure. You're going to be a lot of pressure, just numbers, deals, turning them in, doing all these things. You got to be okay with that. Being okay, being uncomfortable, being okay making mistakes and learning from them. It's never going to be perfect. There's no book for F&I, unfortunately. It's so different, every single thing. Yes, you can learn how to sell, you can learn how to do the paperwork, because that's the same thing, right? But it just, you're going to learn as you go, and being okay with that and being comfortable with that, just being open to all of it is going to help you. But knowing how to talk to people, staying a little bit organized, right? Okay, I got to do this, and that. You got to be able to do that. Be a team player, even in F&I, right? Help your people out. These things are important in F&I, and being a leader.
I love this. Okay, what's in your future? You're 20 years old. You're 20. Where do you see your career? What do you want to be able to do? You want to own a dealer group? I mean, hell, you're on the path.
Yes, that's the plan. But
yes, is it really?
Yes.
Speak it into the universe, then, girl.
Yes.
Like, what you want to have your own dealership? Do you have a particular a franchise dealership, independent dealership?
I love BMWs. I want to have a BMW dealership, and before I get there, I do want to be a platform finance director, just to teach and show others how to do it and get there.
Well, listen, I've got some pretty freaking great resources. What I want to be able to do, and I'm putting this in front of 25,000 people, is I want to connect you with NAMAD. That's the National Association for Minority Automobile Dealers. Damon Lester is the president. And again, in October, I'm going to be the keynote speaker in Miami. You need to go. We need to talk to Kevin.
I'm going.
Okay, you need to go, because this is our people. You know what I mean? Like, I said this to you before, over 30% of all vehicles are purchased by minorities, but only 6% of dealerships are owned by minorities.
That number needs to go
Okay,
up.
yo, you are a queen. You have so much talent, and you have so much to give our industry. Our industry really needs more strong women like you. And again, your tribe is in part the NAMAD Association. So I'll set it up with Damon. He would be honored to have you part of the association and stuff like that. So I love that. Man, I mean, like, how crazy is that to potentially be an owner of a BMW dealership?
I can't even.
But you have to. Yes, exactly. It's not, you can't imagine, you know.
Not until I get that.
Exactly, and that's as you should. Now, I want to end this on two last questions. Now, we heard about the professional stuff. Now, on a personal level, what's important to you? I mean, like this can't be just it, money and stuff like that. So what is important to you as a person? I want to give our audience a little more insight, because you're obviously a badass as a professional, but as a human being, who are you?
I what I stand for is really helping people out and changing their lives. And just like many other women out there, just like myself, that want somewhere to start, they need a mentor, they need somebody. I want to be the person I didn't have when I started. And that's what I want to do, and that's what I care about the most. It's just helping these women, or even male minorities, whatever you are, get there and have somebody to show you these things and have your back and do these things with you. That's definitely one of the most important things to me.
That is extremely noble, altruistic. I love it. Okay, last thing is this. We're about to close out. This is your time to say anything you want to your industry.
Thank you. It's been one great ride. It's one of the best things that has ever happened to me. I always say it's like I won a lottery, but in my job industry. So it's a phenomenal industry to be part, and I truly do appreciate every single one of you guys.
That's awesome. Listen, it's been truly an honor to be able to do this interview with you, because you are an anomaly to the industry and an inspiration to everybody listening to this interview. Thank you so much.
Have a great day.
So there you have it, the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast. This podcast comes to you every week from the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. If you have a question about the show or would like the chance to become a guest, feel free to contact us directly at 856-546-2440 or email us at millionairecarsalesman@gmail.com. This program is a presentation of Synergy Records, produced by Tiana Mick and L.A. Williams. Production and engineering by L.A. Williams. The Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast is hosted every week by L.A. Williams and the Millionaire Car Salesman himself, Sean V. Bradley. The Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast can be found everywhere, so please don't forget to review, subscribe to, and share the show. Thanks for listening to the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast, and remember, where I'm from, money provides options. The Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast is sponsored in part by Autoweb. If you enjoyed this podcast, then make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and leave us a review. Let some other folks know about it. Oh, and don't forget to join the Millionaire Car Salesman group on Facebook. We'll see you there.